In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
I'm sorry, but what in the kind of tinfoil hat, batshit crazy right-wing fever dream did we just watch? This guy really just said that immigrants are coming into our country and eating cats and dogs. Maybe Trump is getting confused with barbecue dog eater RFK Jr. or puppy killer Kristi Noem. Now, if you didn't catch this debate live, you'd swear this was made by Chat GOP, the AI powered by racist conspiracy theories and Covfefe. But all kidding aside, this is what Donald Trump, the Republican Party's candidate for president, actually said during the debate.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC News did reach out to the city manager there. He told us there have been no credible reports of specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well, I've seen people on television.
Let me just say here, this is the
people on television say my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from television.
But the people
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice President Harris.
Trump sources, trust me, bro, I saw it on television. Harris's facial expressions and laugh are exactly how we all felt watching that debate. At least those of us not suffering from brain rot. Now, I don't know if putting Donald Trump on stage is considered elderly abuse, but this 78-year-old Florida man is absolutely cooked. And not just because he looks like he spent too much time in the sun.
They're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Oh, which reminds me, if you haven't seen it already, this is how people responded to Trump talking about cats and dogs getting eaten.
Talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs.
This guy is a laughingstock and completely detached from reality. Instead of providing solutions to issues impacting everyday Americans, he spent the entire debate going off on various unhinged and incoherent rants. Which is funny and sad when you remember that Trump calls himself
a very stable genius.
Anyone who watched and listened to what Donald Trump said during the debate would disagree with his self-diagnosis. Might be time for Donald Trump to ace that cognitive exam again.
Like you'll go person, woman, man, camera, TV.
Okay, just to call out the gravity of the situation, Donald Trump, the guy running for president, is so confused and gullible that he believes a fake conspiracy about Haitian immigrants eating cats and dogs. And just to reiterate that one more time, none of that is happening. But that didn't stop the Republican Party from using it to attack Harris and the Biden administration. This lie was spread around by Republicans like J.D. Vance, who later tried to backpedal what he said. And it was also spread around by Russian assets like serial plagiarist Benny Johnson. And if you didn't know, Benny Johnson is just one of several right-wing influencers who were paid $400,000 per month by Russia to spread Russian propaganda and misinformation. But the one person who was spoon-feeding Trump this cat lie was none other than the mentally unstable predator and xenophobe Laura Loomer. This is who prepped the twice-impeached 34-time convicted felon for his debate against Kamala Harris.
We should note a veritable legion of doom of bigots and liars, perhaps none so depraved as this woman, Laura Loomer. Here she is getting off of Trump's plane before yesterday's debate. Just on Sunday, she posted an insanely racist message that if Harris, whose mom was an Indian immigrant, wins, quote, the White House will smell like curry and White House speeches will be facilitated via a call center, unquote. On this 23rd anniversary of 9/11, we should also note Loomer posted last year that 9/11 was a, quote, inside job, unquote. Trump continues to bring this person along on his travels with him. Why? I don't know.
And on behalf of everyone voting against Donald Trump, I have to thank her.
Bravo!
And you want to know what triggered Trump to go off the rails and talk about cats and dogs? Well, take a look at this.
I'll tell you something. He's going to talk about immigration a lot tonight, even when it's not the subject that is being raised. And I'm going to actually do something really unusual, and I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies, because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve a president who actually puts you first, and I pledge to you that I will.
Harris set the trap and Trump fell for it without any hesitation. I mean, for weeks, the Harris campaign and allies told everyone that her plan was to bait Trump and get under his skin. Seriously, this was not some surprise strategy. They broadcasted their plan to everyone. They even gave everyone a sample during the DNC.
Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. It has been a constant stream of gripes and grievances that's actually been getting worse now that he's afraid of losing to Kamala. There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes. It just goes on and on.
So what does Trump do as soon as Harris mocks his crowds? He loses it.
President Trump, on that point, I want to get your response.
Well, I would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so, that would have put thousands of additional agents and officers on the border?
First, let me respond as to the rallies.
Notice how Trump doesn't answer the question? That's because Donald Trump single-handedly killed the border bill to keep it as a policy issue for the election.
And let me say that the United States Congress, including some of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, came up with a border security bill which I supported. And that bill would have put 1,500 more border agents on the border to help those folks who are working there right now overtime trying to do their job. It would have allowed us to stem the flow of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human beings. But you know what happened to that bill? Donald Trump got on the phone, called up some folks in Congress, and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country actually need a leader who engages in solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem.
Again, Donald Trump killed the border bill. So if we want to blame anyone for why the border doesn't have more agents, tools, technology, etc., just look at the guy who would rather selfishly put himself first before America.
She said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do go, she's bussing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back.
Since Trump mentioned Harris's crowds, let's take a look.
We'll come to America when we host the Los Angeles Olympics. And by the way, which I was president, we happened to get it. I was the president. I also got you a thing called the World Cup, which is coming very soon.
Also, not to add salt to Trump's wound, but on the second night of the DNC in Chicago, Harris packed both the United Center in Chicago and the Pfizer Forum in Milwaukee. Donald Trump is so dumb and predictable that the Harris campaign knew that as soon as she mentioned his boring, tiny crowds, he would react like a little insecure
pussy-ass bitch.
Trump claims that no one ever leaves his rallies, except there's literally video footage of his supporters doing that very thing while he's giving speeches. Here they are leaving his rally in the Bronx. And here they are leaving early at another one of his rallies in Las Vegas. And my personal favorite, his supporters leaving in droves from his Wildwood, New Jersey rally. This is the rally that Trump claims that there were over 100,000 people in attendance.
Sure, Jan.
Instead of putting their crazy racist grandpa into bed, the GOP decided to run him as their candidate. Which reminds me, speaking of beds, I want to thank today's sponsor, Miracle Made. Did you know that traditional bed sheets can harbor more bacteria than a toilet seat? It can lead to acne, allergies, and stuffy noses, and it's just gross. Miracle Made offers a whole line of self-cleaning antibacterial bedding, such as sheets, pillowcases, and comforters that prevent up to 99.7% of bacteria growth and require up to 3 times less laundry. Using silver-infused fabrics inspired by NASA, Miracle Made sheets are thermoregulating and designed to keep you at the perfect temperature all night long, so you get better sleep every night. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, leaving them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. No more gross odors. Miracle sheets are luxuriously comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands, and feel as nice if not nicer than sheets used by some 5-star hotels. Stop sleeping on bacteria. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne. Sleep clean with Miracle. Go to trymiracle.com/Gabe to try Miracle sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo Gabe at checkout, you'll get 3 free towels and save an extra 20%. Miracle is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/Gabe and use the code Gabe to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40% off. Again, that's trymiracle.com/Gabe to treat yourself. Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this episode. This guy is so obsessed with crowd sizes that he said that his Jan 6 crowd had more people than MLK's I Have a Dream speech.
The biggest crowd I've ever spoken to, and you've seen Maggie, I was at the mall, I was at the Washington Monument, I was at the whole thing. I had crowds, I don't know who's ever had a bigger crowd than I have, but I had it many times. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken before was that day, and I'll tell you, it's very hard to find a picture of that crowd. You see the picture of a small number of people relatively going to the Capitol, but you never see the picture of the crowd. The biggest crowd I've ever spoken, I've spoken to the biggest crowds. Nobody's spoken to crowds bigger than me. If you look at Martin Luther King, when he did his speech, his great speech, and you look at ours, same real estate, same everything, same number of people, if not, we had more. And they said he had 1 million people, but I had 25,000 people. But when you look at the exact same picture, and everything's the same because it was the fountains, the whole thing, all the way back to from Lincoln to Washington, and you look at it, and you look at the picture of his crowd, my crowd, we actually had more people.
Right.
Not only is Trump's feeble attempt at bragging pathetic, but it's also just a flat-out lie. According to the National Park Service, approximately 250,000 people attended MLK's speech, while Trump, on the other hand, had anywhere from 10,000 to 25,000 people at his address. Also, Trump and MLK did not even speak in the same location. MLK spoke at the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, which looks east toward the Washington Monument, while Trump spoke at the Ellipse, which is a grassy area just south of the White House. So if we look back at the debate, Trump was more focused on himself than providing solutions for the American people, which was incredibly apparent in his closing statement.
We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry.
Yikes! Calling America a failing nation is certainly not the approach I would take, but then again, we know that Donald Trump and his MAGA base don't actually love this country. And if we compare Trump's fear-mongering pitch to voters to that of Harris's call for hope and freedom, it's night and day.
So I think you've heard tonight 2 very different visions for our country. One that is focused on the future, and the other that is focused on the past, and an attempt to take us backward. But we're not going back. And I do believe that the American people know we all have so much more in common than what separates us, and we can chart a new way forward. And a vision of that includes having a plan, understanding the aspirations, the dreams, the hopes, the ambition of the American people, which is why I intend to create an opportunity economy, investing in small businesses, in new families, in what we can do around protecting seniors, what we can do that is about giving hardworking folks a break and bringing down the cost of living. I believe in what we can do together that is about sustaining America's standing in the world and ensuring that we have the respect that we so rightly deserve, including respecting our military and ensuring we have the most lethal fighting force in the world. I will be a president that will protect our fundamental rights and freedoms, including the right of a woman to make decisions about her own body and not have her government tell her what to do. I'll tell you, I started my career as a prosecutor. I was a DA, I was an attorney general, a United States senator, and now vice president. I've only had one client, the people. And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing I ever asked them, are you okay? And that's the kind of president we need right now. Someone who cares about you and is not putting themselves first. I intend to be a president for all Americans and focus on what we can do over the next 10 and 20 years to build back up our country by investing right now in you, the American people.
Well, that's all for me today. Thanks so much for watching, and feel free to follow me at I Am Gabe Sanchez. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to check out the audio version of What Was That, perfect for when you're on the go or just relaxing. Catch every episode wherever you listen to podcasts. So until next episode, I'm Gabe Sanchez, and this has been What Was That?
Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Eat the cat, eat the cat. Eat the cat, eat the cat. Eat the cat, eat the cat, eat the cat. Eat the cat, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat.